I'll just adjourn the meeting. Okay, I'll resume the meeting at 12:19 p.m. Do we have any conflicts? Councillor?
Yeah, I'll go first. Under item C2, line 146, subject heading Resolution A, draft revised 2020-21 operational business as usual budget compared against specific rate modelling scenarios. I, Councillor Burkett, declare that I have a material interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175B, for agenda item C2, the draft revised 2020-21 operational business as usual budget compared against specific rate modelling scenarios. The Mitchell RSL Combined Sports Club on line 146. I'm the President of the club and in accordance with Section 175C 2B of the Local Government Act 2009, I will leave the room while this matter is being discussed and voted on.
Sorry. Can we just add the word material personal interest? We just stick that up.
Yeah.
And the officers just pointed out the title, draft revised 2021 operation business as usual budget and draft project proposals.
Oh, yeah, that's what you got me for.
And then the rest can go.
Is that the same when you go down to
And that will be the same for each of the subsequent declarations. Sorry.
Alright, thank you.
What? I don't have to say that again, do I?
Do you want to say it again just quickly?
Oh, okay.
Just for completeness.
I, Councillor Burkett, on item number C2, line 146, subject heading Resolution A, draft revised 2020-21 operational business as usual budget and draft project proposals. I, Councillor Burkett, declare that I have a material personal interest as defined by the Local Government Act of 2009, Section 175B for agenda item C2, the draft revised 2020-21 operational business as usual budget and draft project proposals. Mitchell RSL Combined Sports Club on line 146. I am the President of the club in accordance with Section 175C 2B of the Local Government Act 2009. I will leave the room while this matter is being discussed and voted on.
Mayor, just you talk about completeness. The declaration will need to include the same wording around gaining a benefit or suffering a loss as the other MPIs have.
So would we be able to add that wording in there?
Why did I go first? So you're middle.
Do we have to read that top bit because it's all in the below bit? You know, the little C2 line.
Starting at the nature. Will have to be from the
Third time right.
So George, no.
Just add the extra words.
Don't read what's in the box.
No, that's what I thought. Well,
Just
because
continue.
it's all.
Told you it was a Demtel ad.
Kel, can you just see in before the nature? You probably just could get rid of I'm the president of the club because
It doubles up. And one more time.
Proofread it before you go.
Yeah, it sounded good to me the first time.
to read that last part, it's all you.
Well, I'll have to
So
start
you
from.
happen to read a lot if you wanted.
Oh, I might as well. I, Councillor Burkett, item declaration of the conflict of interest. I, Councillor Burkett, item number C2, line 146, subject heading Resolution A, draft revised 2020-21 operational business as usual budget and draft project proposal. I, Councillor Burkett, declare that I have a material personal interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175B for agenda item C2, the draft revised 2020-21 operational business as usual budget and draft project proposals. Mitchell RSL and Combined Sports Club on line 146. The nature of the relationship is that I'm the president of the Mitchell RSL and Combined Sports Club, which stands to gain benefit or suffer loss either directly or indirectly, depending on the outcome of Council's consideration of this matter. In accordance with Section 175C 2B of the Local Government Act 2009, I will leave the room while this matter is being discussed and voted on.
Okay, Councillor Hancock.
I, Councillor Joanne Hancock, declare that I have a material personal interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175B for agenda item C2, with the subject heading Draft Revised 2020-21 Operational Business as Usual Budget and Draft Project Proposals. The particulars of the interest are on line 49 only, so I'm requesting that we split the draft project proposals 2020-2021 to allow me to be involved in discussion and vote on all except line 49 in this instance for this MPI. The name of the person or entity who stands to gain a benefit or suffer a loss, either directly or indirectly, depending on the outcome of the consideration of the matter at the meeting, is Peter and Karen Hancock. The nature of my relationship is to the person or entity is they are business partners. Sorry, Cal, can you just scroll down? They're business partners, and depending on the outcome of Council's consideration of this matter, may either stand to gain a benefit or suffer a loss, either indirectly or directly, depending on the outcome of Council's consideration of this matter, by the project proposed on their road that their property resides on. In accordance with Section 175C2B.
Hancock, do you mind just coming back to that minute, taken to that? Because we've got
There's a double.
on the outcome of consideration twice.
Yeah. Cal, if you just go up, I'll fix it. If you just go up, the nature of my relationship with the person or with the persons is they are business partners.
Last one.
The nature of my relationship to the person or entity is they are business partners.
Yeah.
And depending on the outcome of Council's consideration, they stand together.
Benefit or loss.
Suffer a loss directly or indirectly. Stop.
Okay. Oh,
As.
yeah.
As the project proposed. Is on there.
No, as the project proposed is on. Yeah. Is on their road that their property resides on. Yeah.
That they reside on.
If you just go up, it just I just say twice about how, but that's fine. How this happened, but that's fine. Will we take two, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I think so.
I, Councillor Joanne Hancock, declare that I have a material personal interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175B for agenda item C.2, with the subject heading Draft Revised 2020-21 Operational Business as Usual Budget and Draft Project Proposals. The particulars of the interest are on line 49 only, so I'm just requesting that we split the draft project proposals 2020 to 2021 to allow me to be involved in discussion and vote on all except line 49 in this instance for this MPI. The name of the person or entity who stands to gain a benefit or suffer a loss, either directly or indirectly, depending on the outcome of the consideration of the matter at the meeting, is Peter and Karen Hancock. The nature of my relationship to the person or entity is that they are business partners. And depending on the outcome of Council's consideration on this matter, may stand to gain a benefit or suffer a loss, either directly or indirectly, as a project proposed is on the road that they reside on. In accordance with Section 175C2B of the Local Government Act 2009, I will leave the room while the matter is discussed and voted on with C.2B, line 49. Can I have another one, Mr. Mayor?
Please go ahead.
I, Councillor Joanne Hancock, declare that I have a perceived conflict of interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D and E, for the agenda item C.2, with the subject heading Draft Revised 2020-21 Operational Business as Usual Budget and Draft Project Proposal, line 68. The personal interest arises because my relationship with the Strat Post and News Proprietary Limited. The nature of my relationship with this entity is my husband Graham Hancock and my parents Paul and Rachel Paravicini are business partners, and the nature of the other person's interest in the matter is Strat Post and News is their business. On line 68, the reason I have determined that this personal interest is not of sufficient significance is that it is the project that is being put forward is or was on the same road as Strat Post and News, but nowhere near in the vicinity of Strat Post and News. So I've determined this personal interest is not of sufficient significance that it will lead me to making a decision on the matter that is contrary to the public interest. I'll best perform my responsibility of serving the overall public interest of the whole of the council area by participating in the decision and voting on the matter. However, I acknowledge that the remaining councillors must now determine, pursuant to Section 175E4 of the Local Government Act 2009, A, whether I have a real conflict of interest in this matter or a perceived conflict of interest in this matter, and B, if so, whether 1, I must leave the meeting while this matter is discussed and voted on, or 2, I may participate in the meeting in relation to the matter, including by voting on the matter.
Okay, thank you. So do we have a mover, Councillor O'Neill?
I'll move that Councillor Joan Hancock has a perceived conflict of interest in the matter, and notwithstanding the conflict, Councillor Hancock may participate in the matter discussed and vote upon it.
We have a seconder, Councillor Ladbrokes. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
Mr. Mayor, I have another one.
Sure. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I, Councillor Joanne Hancock, declare that I have a perceived conflict of interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D and E for the agenda item C.2, with the subject heading Draft Revised 2020-21 Operational Business as Usual Budget and Draft Project Proposals, line 142. The personal interest arises because of my relationship with Stephen Hancock, who is the president of the Mitchell Show Society. The nature of my relationship with this person is he is my brother-in-law. I've determined this personal interest is not of sufficient significance that will lead me to making a decision on the matter that is contrary to the public interest. I'll best perform my responsibility of serving the overall public interest of the whole of the council area by participating in the discussion and voting on the matter. However, I acknowledge that the remaining councillors must now determine, pursuant to Section 175E4 of the Local Government Act 2009, A, whether I have a real conflict of interest in this matter or a perceived conflict of interest in this matter, and B, if so, whether 1, I must leave the meeting while this matter is discussed and voted on, or 2, may participate in the meeting in relation to the matter, including by voting on the matter.
Okay, do we have someone like to move something? Councillor McMullen.
Mr. Mayor, I move that Councillor Joanne Hancock has a perceived conflict of interest in the matter, and notwithstanding the conflict, Councillor Hancock may participate in the matter, discuss and vote on it.
Okay, anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those.
Seconder.
Oh, we need a seconder, of course. Councillor Guthrie, anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. That's all
Thank
from me.
you.
Thank you.
Councillor Ladbrokes.
I, Councillor Ladbrokes, declare that I have a material interest as defined in the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175B, for the agenda item C2.
Councillor Ladbrokes, you mind just doing that again because it hasn't got material personal interest? Put that in there. You'd like to go again?
Yep. I, Councillor Ladbrokes, declare that I have a material personal interest as defined of the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175B, for the agenda item C2, the draft revised 2021 operational business as usual budget and draft project proposals on the line 121 and 139. The nature of my relationship, I'm in the committee of the Roma Turf Club, which stands to gain a benefit or suffer loss, either directly or indirectly, depending on the outcome of Council's decision of this matter. In accordance with Section 175C 2B of the Local Government Act 2009, I will leave the room while this matter is being discussed and voted on.
Okay. Councillor O'Neill.
I, Councillor O'Neill, declare that I have a material personal interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175B, for agenda item C2, the draft revised 2020-21 operational business as usual budget and draft project proposals. The matter relates to the carryover project Regional University Centre Maranoa. The nature of the relationship is that I am chair of the Country University Centre Maranoa, which stands to gain a benefit or suffer a loss, either directly or indirectly, depending on the outcome of Council's consideration of this matter. In accordance with Section 175C 2B of the Local Government Act 2009, I will leave the room while this matter is being discussed and voted on.
Okay. Councillor O'Neill actually said material personal interest. He actually read that, but you missed the person.
Yeah.
I, Councillor Cameron O'Neill, declare that I have a perceived conflict of interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D and E, for agenda item C1, with the subject heading Rating Scenario 1 Updated 2020-21 Differential General Rates Minimum and Capping. The conflict has arisen because I'm chair of the Country University Centre Maranoa. We have received correspondence that Santos and Origin have approved foundation sponsorship of the new centre. I have determined this personal interest is not of sufficient significance that it will lead me to making a decision on the matter that is contrary to the public interest. I will best perform my responsibility of serving the overall public interest of the council, of the whole of the council area, by participating in the discussion and voting on the matter. However, I acknowledge that the remaining councillors must now determine, pursuant to Section 175E4 of the Local Government Act 2009, A, whether I have a real conflict of interest in this matter or a perceived conflict of interest in this matter, and B, if so, whether 1, I must leave the meeting while this matter is discussed or voted on, or 2, I may participate in the meeting in relation to this matter, including by voting on the matter.
Okay, do we have anyone to move on that?
He's doing George.
Councillor Ladbrokes.
I move that Councillor O'Neill has perceived conflict of interest in the matter of, notwithstanding the conflict, Councillor O'Neill may participate in this matter, discussed and voted upon.
Okay, do we have a seconder?
And we'll just change that to matter and notwithstanding.
Councillor Taylor. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? Go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. Okay, I'd just like to confirm that I'm advising the meeting that there would be a similar situation with agenda item C2 as there was in the previous meeting, and as a result we'll consider the project separately for C2. Okay, do we have any further business, councillors?
I move we go into committee.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor McMullen. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay, we're in open. Councillor Edwards, do you have a declaration?
I do. Councillor Market was declared that as material personal interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175B for agenda item C4, subject heading gas tariff subsidy for local business. And the person is myself and my partners related to the owner of the Carnarvon Motel who may gain a benefit directly or indirectly depending on the outcome of the Council's consideration on this matter. In accordance with Section 175C 2B of the Local Government Act 2009, I will leave the room while the matter is discussed and voted on.
Okay, thank you. Do we have someone to go into close? Councillor Hancock, do we have a seconder? Councillor Burkett, all those in favour? 9-0. Okay, item C1, rating scenario 1 updated 2020-21. Differential, general rates, minimum and capping. I would like to move that council approve 1 updated to be prepared for the next stage of the budget. The next stage of prepared as the budget for the next stage of the budget to come back next week, is it? We've got that date for next week.
Could I suggest that?
Are we going to tell people what scenario 1 updated is?
Well, we're going into consultation in a
When it
week's
goes
time.
out to consultation. Could I suggest, Mr. Mayor, that if you're happy, it could just be that information be received and contents noted, because we already have the item on the books that scenario 1 updated is proceeding to the next phase.
Right. Okay, I'm happy with that. Noted. It's just a deal.
And the information be received and contents noted.
We have a second for that.
What's the resolution?
So all that other goes. So last week the committee recommended it go to the next stage. Will it keep going then?
Yes.
Yep. And so this is just receiving, noting the report. So all that other goes.
The information received and contents noted.
noted.
So that's as in last month.
No, as in what was discussed today.
So just updating each week, each time.
It's really just noting the report. And do we need to say something about, because the other one had higher ratings in it? You know, it was high because the ANC.
And the
Petroleum
could we and incorporating and endorse the minor amendments discussed.
Does that give you enough direction on?
Yes.
Yep.
Through you, Mayor, now slightly confused that there's been a recommendation before from the officer that is confirming 4 points.
This is,
And then there's a point 2 that was there as well, which now this substantially changes what was recommended, which is fine, but the justification as to why one, the recommendation is substantially changed, and probably seek clarification from the officer about now not confirming the rate in the dollar, the minimum general rate, the capping and the percentage.
without foreshadowing it, I think there will be time to provide that clarity over the next week.
Right, all right, okay.
So I'm happy with that, and I'll be happy to give notes on why this is not the op.
I don't think
It
it's
doesn't get
necessary.
after.
Oh, you don't?
at this
Right,
point.
okay.
Because I think, as I said to Councillor O'Neill, there'll be time over the next week
Right.
to find.
Because this is not contradicting, it's just taking on board what was given today.
Yes.
Okay, we have a second for that motion. Councillor Edwards, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? Okay,
I just, for my own peace of mind,
sure.
what are the minor amendments? Which we may have to go back into committee to rehash, but
Okay, I move that we go back into committee.
Do we need to?
So that the page 4. We have a second for moving.
If you want more clarity, Councillor O'Neill, I suggest maybe endorse the minor amendments outlined by the report's author.
Okay, we have a,
To ensure the information is in line with the mayor's intent.
did you have some more questions, Councillor O'Neill?
Well, maybe,
Councillor
sorry, the council's intent.
well, it's just that there was a vote taken a week ago on a particular scenario. There have now been some changes to that scenario.
Recommended changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, how is that reflected that those recommended changes are being included in the scenario?
Okay, does anyone need to go into close to ask confidential question? Okay, well, that will lapse then. Information we received and noted.
Or perhaps we're saying like with the committee's intent.
Information we received, context noted, endorse the minor amendments outlined.
And possibly yes, the report's author.
So, Councillor O'Neill, would you like scenario 1 updated to be mentioned? Is that what you, to give more clarity?
A vote was taken a week ago on a particular scenario. That scenario has now changed, or potentially changed because of what has been presented. Therefore, it is a vote on the inclusion or not of those changes, and whether that now is what people are voting on.
Okay, so we can have what we've got there, but inclusion in scenario 1 updated. Can we not have that? So, yeah.
Endorse the minor amendments to scenario 1 updated.
Yeah, that's good. It makes it very clear.
Doesn't have to say what they are.
What it's up to.
Updated. feel fine.
Okay, does it, all councillors,
So as outlined, you've just changed the wording there, councillor.
That okay?
do all councillors understand what we're voting on?
Not really, but
Well, we might need to go into closed.
Well, I did move that. I'll move, we're going to close, we've got a second, and councillor McMullen, all those in favour? 9-0. I might read that again, just for clarity. Number 1, that the information be received and contents noted, inclusion of the final updates, inclusive of the final updates to scenario 1 updated rating model, and the results proceed to the next stage of the draft 2020-2021 budget preparations, and 2, endorse the rating detail scenario 1 updated proceeding to the next stage of the draft 2020-2021 budget preparations. Is the seconder, are you happy with that?
yes.
Yeah, okay. Because it's changed a bit, but we had a mover and a seconder, so both are in favour of that. Is there any opposition? Okay, does anyone wish to speak to the motion? Okay, we're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? 6-3 if I call for division. Okay, moving on to C2. C2, so this is going to, councillors are broken up into 3 sections, I believe, or more. So C2, draft revised 2020-2021 operational business as usual budget and draft projects proposals. Okay, which one have we got first?
C2A.
2A, and Councillor Burkett's left the room. So we're doing C2A. Do we have a mover on this one? So this is item, we have the item number there. So we're clear.
Line
Line item was. Yeah, 146, thank you. Okay, so that's what we're actually deciding on. Okay, we have a mover. Well, I'm happy to move.
How do we get there, Mr. Kelly?
I'm just checking, line 146 for councillor Burkett, yep.
Yeah. So I'd like to move that we receive and note the information presented. I wonder whether we should just say line number 146 or approve number 146.
To proceed to the next stage of budget.
It'll be the part 3 of the resolution would be what you could move, which is recommend line
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
146.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I might change that if I can, please. So I'll read out, recommend that that line item number 146 be proceed to the next draft of the 2021 budget. Is that all?
And really don't need went to.
And all the others can go.
Have we got that saved somewhere else, Kel? Because that'll be the D or E one when we come to it.
Well, one can stay there, that'd be all right.
Do you want to see them?
Only talking about 146, are we?
Yeah, just, we only need two at that point.
So Mayor, for completeness, so it matches the other ones, would the resolution read, recommend that line 146 be included in the 2021 draft budget?
Right, I'm happy with that.
Because that's what the others mean.
Yep.
Next draft, make that fit in, next draft.
Do we have a second for that?
I'll second.
Councillor O'Neill, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Ladbrook, you in favour? Okay, we've got 8-0. Okay.
We'll do tag team.
I'll just go out of it, I've got confidence.
Okay, so this one will be C2E, is that correct? Yeah, okay, there's someone, we'll just wait for a councillor. Okay, do we have a mover? Please go ahead, councillor Taylor.
That the committee recommend that line number 49 be included in the next draft of the 2021 budget.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor McMullen. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. Okay, moving on to the next.
Joe's going to cover that, isn't it?
No, she was allowed to vote.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, still on C2. 121. So we're dealing with line item 121 and 139. We have a mover on this one, Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, I'll move that the committee recommend that line items 121 and 139 be included in the next draft of the 2020-21 budget. Nothing underneath it, is there, Kel? No.
We have a second, Councillor Burkett. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
I'm out on the next one.
Okay. Thank you. So Councillor O'Neill will be leaving for the next one.
Oh, that's good.
Some of the carry over.
No.
Which one is this? It's page 9. Oh, you've got it.
Just describe that one.
Page 9.
Page 9. So do we call it 4.2 economic development?
No, there's a
Carry.
Carry over.
Just the carryover project.
We identified at one of the top, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, page, yeah.
So how much detail do we need about the carryover project? Hasn't got a number.
That's it then.
No, that's important.
He didn't name it.
11 from the bottom, sorry.
Oh, 11 from the bottom. Page 9.
Yeah, page 9, row 11. Can we do
On the
that?
bottom,
On the bottom.
I think
28.
what I said, just call it
Line
carryover.
28.
4.2, economic development. Page 1.
Yeah, there's a few 4.2s.
Can you put the figure?
Oh,
That's what I was just saying. Yeah, it has already been declared.
yeah, it's up there, it's in the declaration.
So you've got to go,
Yeah,
what
so
do
I
you
just referred to that.
Yeah,
So what the title?
No, but.
no, you don't need it in this, in the resolution.
Just say carryover project.
Yeah.
Same as
The
this deck.
identified carryover.
That the carryover project, the carryover,
Yeah, the identified.
oh, the identified.
Yeah, same as this declaration.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because we have been transparent
Yeah.
already in that space.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, do we have a mover? Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, I'll move that the committee recommend that the identified carryover project be included in the next draft of the 2020-21 budget.
We have a seconder. Councillor Edwards. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
I've just got the rest of it now, haven't we?
Yeah.
So we did the.
Okay, C2, draft revised 2020-2021 operational business as usual budget and draft project proposals. I'd like to move that the committee receive and note the information presented, recommend the draft budget statement of income and expenditure 2020-2021 based on scenario 1 updated, be included in the next draft of the 2021 budget, and recommend the balance of final projects, including carryovers and associated funding source for inclusion in the 2020-2021 draft budget. So that's the balance. We've already dealt with the others, now we're doing the balance. Okay, do we have a seconder?
Yep.
Councillor Burkett. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? 8-1 by call for division. Okay, moving on to C3. We have a page number
47.
Thank you. C3, development infrastructure charges, COVID-19 stimulus concession policy. We have a mover. Councillor Ladbrokes.
I move that the draft development infrastructure charges of COVID-19 stimulus concession policy be included in the final draft of budget documents for community consultation.
We have a seconder, Councillor Edwards. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. C4, gas tariff subsidy for local business. I'd like to move that the committee receive and note the report. The committee recommends current industrial gas tariffs free be renamed industrial, commercial, other, with the gas tariff over 15,000 megajoules set at $0.015 in brackets 1.5 cents for inclusion in the next draft of the 2020-21 fees and charges budget. The committee recommend to include the industrial, commercial, other consumption over 1 million megajoules per annum in individual contract supplies. And 4, the committee recommend government gas tariffs, be introduced based on the current industrial gas tariffs. And 5, the committee recommend any loss of gas operating revenue is subsidised by the general fund. Do we have a seconder?
Just before you seek a seconder, you'll have to clarify why Councillor Edmonds left the room.
I think he had a medical appointment.
No, yes,
Conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest.
Okay. Righto, that was a good point, conflict of interest. So, Councillor Edwards has left the room. Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Lovegood. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
Sorry, Mr Mayor, just to clarify, do we need to do a statement reason against that one? This was against the staff recommendation?
I'm happy to add something, but I didn't think we needed to. CEO, do we need to add a statement to this one?
I did clarify in close, I thought it was against the recommendation of staff.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Yeah, so I'm happy to give the reasons that this is direct economic development to grow the region's population and to stimulate development of the gas manufacturing industry based on our natural resource that we have in the region. Okay, does anyone else want to add anything? If not, we'll keep going. So we're on to C5. C5, Roma Skate Park upgrades. Councillor Taylor.
I'd like to receive a note.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Hancock. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? I'd like to speak. I think it's fantastic when a member of the public makes contact with us about upgrading one of our facilities, and it is excellent when they take this communication and then it gets to the council table and council has a look at this and obviously progresses the matter. So I think it's fantastic. Local government works. Okay, we're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Any further business, councillors? I'll close the meeting at 5:04 PM and thank you for your attendance.